Hello everyone, hope everybody's doing well. Today we're just going through a simple debounce implementation, and we're going to talk about what it is, why it's important, and what cases in the real world it solves. So debounce is basically a way to limit a certain functionality or the number of calls to an API within your code from performing unnecessarily. So good examples of this are search input functions. So like for example, here we're trying to get grocery items, apples, almond milk, avocados, etc. Another example in the real world is a submit button when you're at a checkout. You don't want to be able to submit it twice and get charged twice. So there's different real world examples in which this debounce implementation solves. So here, for example, just so you totally understand the problem, every single time that you write a character, you're making an API call, which is tracked here. But you don't necessarily want to do that because let's say I'm looking for apples and oranges. Well, I've just typed a bunch of times. Maybe I only want it to call the API once apples and oranges is typed out completely, right? So and even for backspaces, you get API calls. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I may do a React implementation at the end, I may not, but for right now it's just regular HTML and JavaScript here and a little style sheet that I've done up. So just to give you the overview, here's our table. This is our mock data with all the different grocery store staples, I guess. And just, our API calls, which is over here. Results cell comes here, obviously up here. And here is our function to perform search. So every single time that the search input up here is inputted, it's going to perform search. But we know we don't want to do that. So we want to basically create a debounced version of this search function so that when we call it, it keeps track of how much time has passed since the last input event. So I'm going to start by doing that and just define a function up here, or create a function up here. So we'll call it debounce, and it will take in two parameters, the function that you want to run and the amount of time that you want to wait before running that function. So what it will do is it's going to return a function. So almost like this, it's going to take in arguments, and we're going to do the set timeout here. And that takes a callback function, and then in there we are going to run the actual function with whatever arguments we passed in, and that will run once delay has occurred. Now, the only other thing that we have to do here is we have to ensure that we're keeping track of the timeout. So we have to be able to clear this somehow if it's been executed before delay has occurred. So we need to kind of restart it if the delay has not occurred. So what that would look like is we can set the timeout ID of the set timeout function like that, and up here we can define that function. And so basically this is a closure. This function with the variable here, so it'll still be able to access the timeout ID. And we are going to create now the debounced version of this function. So let's just see here, where am I? So perform search. So we want to create the debounced version of search. So just declare it like this. Equal to debounce, and here's the function that we're passing in, perform search, and the amount of time that we want to wait. So 500 milliseconds, and we want when the input occurs, rather than perform search, we want to perform debounced search. So effectively, let me just make sure I have all this right. Looks correct. Effectively, what's happening here is when this script is loaded, this function executes, it returns a function, which becomes here, and it sets the timeout, and it waits the allotted amount of time, 500. And if you click it again, it will clear. Oh, actually, forgot to do the clear timeout. So yeah, you need to clear the timeout every single time that this function is ran. And that's why we have the timeout ID up here. And so let's save that and see if it works. So as we know, apples is in our list. So if I type out apples really quickly, see how we have one API call? And if I backspace really quickly, should be one more. Let's see. Let's try bananas. So only after I stop typing, basically after the 500 milliseconds has occurred, and provided the debounced search has not been executed again, which would clear the timeout, it will make the API call, which is exactly what you want in a real-world scenario. So anyways, that's been Debounce for today, and hope everybody has a great day.